Well, welcome to the very first episode of WG Content's Unscripted in 2026. We have a very special guest to kick us off in this new year, Robbie Schneider from Franciscan Health. Welcome, Robbie.
Hi, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, so good to see you. And I'm so excited you're actually going to be in Cincinnati next week. So we're going to have breakfast and that'll be fun. Um, Robbie leads a lot of things at Franciscan Health, primarily their social strategy, content strategy, blog. I mean, it touches a lot of things, but you've been doing some really great, tremendous work over the years. I see you speaking everywhere, webinars everywhere. So, congratulations on all the really cool work you've done over the years. It's
Hey,
been a lot
thank
of
you.
fun to
And I
watch
love
you
it.
do all
I
that.
feel like our job is like a really great playground.
Yeah,
And the side benefit is we get to help people along the way. So
I
it's great.
know it is. Yeah, and you're so good at that because I think that's where, putting your thought leadership out there and sharing
Mhm.
it. You've written a book too, right?
I've written 3 books actually.
3 books. Okay, well, you're an overachiever. So we're not
I'm
going to talk
sorry. Yeah, but you know what the funny thing is? I didn't do any of that stuff until like the 2020s. And it's like this whole decade has been so strangely different and nothing that I would have expected. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah. Sounds about what we're all experiencing. So, well, we're not going to talk about work. We're going to get to know you a little bit better. So, Robbie's seen, and we have a whole new list of questions in 2026. So, poor Robbie is our first guest to get the pick of one of these new questions or a few of these new questions. So, are you ready?
I'm gonna try. We'll see.
There's no way to mess this up. Okay, we'll start with one that seems like it could be an easier one. If you had a completely responsibility free day,
Mhm.
how would you spend it? What are you doing with free time?
Oh my gosh, do I have free time?
Yeah.
That's one of the crazy things. I'm in this weird stage in life right now where I'm trying to figure that out. So my children are in, one is the senior in high school and the other one
Okay.
is in college. So, kind of shedding, I don't want to say the old ways, but some of the things
Hmm.
that you used to do. So, I just retired after 15 years of being a Girl Scout and Boy Scout leader.
Okay.
And, I've started teaching recently and all these sort of things. So, if I had like a completely free day where no responsibilities, I'm going to say that there's great weather and I'm going to get to go hiking.
Okay.
I don't get to do that often enough. That is just, I love being outdoors. And there's some great areas, even in Indiana, that you can explore. I'd love to have time to do some cooking, visiting with friends,
Mm-hmm.
really just kind of take it easy. But that
Yeah.
day definitely starts with a clean house, which we know doesn't exist. So unfortunately, this is all in my bubble.
Yeah.
And
Well, I was going to say a responsibility free day. You get to
yeah,
decide what it is, right? So you snap your
exactly.
fingers, your house is
And it's gone.
clean.
Yes.
You snap your fingers and you're on a beautiful hike. You snap your fingers and you're making some
I love
great
it.
meal.
Yes.
And that's a great day with no responsibilities and you just get
Exactly.
to enjoy it. So
Exactly. Yes.
that's great. Well, and I'll have to ask you more about the hiking in Indiana because that is a little bit of a surprise to me. So you'll have to give me the insights in that.
Okay. Great.
Okay. Who is someone who quietly influenced your life more than they probably realize?
Oh, this is a tough one for me.
Like a mentor or somebody that maybe you've paid attention to over the years?
I haven't, one of the regrets I have is that I haven't had strong mentors in my career. So that's always been challenging for me. But I've loved the fact that being open to opportunities has led me to meet some neat people
Hmm.
and some great experiences.
Yeah.
And I guess, when you talk about quietly, I can think of a couple of people, and strangely enough, I met them through Twitter. I've met Jen Radke with the National Institute of Social Media, just
Oh, very,
again,
yeah.
exchanging ideas over X. And
Yeah.
we've been able to do some collaborations. And
Yeah.
she actually was one of my big encouragers when I decided to start writing and speaking more on mental health in the digital space.
Yeah.
Colin Hung over at what's
Yeah.
now Say Health. I
Hmm.
used to love back in the day, they had weekly Twitter chats where we talk about all things healthcare. And it was
Hmm.
an amazing space that he held for
Yeah.
everybody from providers to caregivers to people who are living with chronic conditions and be able to intersect with all these different people and different ideas
Yeah.
in a non-judgmental way was
Yeah.
just phenomenal. And if there was ever a way for that community to kind of,
Come
regenerate in a
back.
space,
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's always been so
He's a
encouraging
great
of everybody
connector.
in
Yeah.
this space.
Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah, great connector, great facilitator.
Absolutely.
And I think that that word about community, it's like is becoming even more important, as like we're like
Exactly.
needing connection and community. And whether that's like online or offline, I think we need to
Mhm.
keep thinking about that.
And what's really beautiful is when those two meet,
Oh,
and when
for
you're able
sure.
to take these people that
Yeah.
you've talked to in a digital space and have had great conversations and shared ideas, and you're
Yeah.
able to, when lives are able to cross, maybe it's at a
Yeah.
conference, maybe it's something
Yeah.
else, and you're able to meet for coffee or breakfast or just, exchanging ideas over a conversation. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. I know. That's a great example. All right. So when you look back on the last 5 years, what are you most proud of?
Jokingly, I'm going to say surviving it, and I think that's an answer
No, that
everybody
is
can
not a
say.
joke. That is a real answer.
Um, Honestly, I am proudest. Here's the sun again. Um,
It's
I'm
saying,
proudest.
we're proud of you too, Robbie.
Yes, exactly. Um, this has really been a decade of reinvention for me,
Hmm.
and not necessarily in like what I do in my day job, but really just in the context of everything personal and professional for me.
Hmm.
So, just to give you a little bit of context, going on 5 years now, my husband had a very significant medical event, and that actually led me to write my first book. Was
Okay.
dealing with all of the complications and the concerns and the questions that we found that we
Mhm.
couldn't answer in the traditional digital space. And so, doing a lot of research and that kind of thing. So, being able to be open to not only talking about that and sharing, here's what I've learned and bringing it
Mhm.
forward. Um, Getting the opportunities to help start some of the early discussions on mental health in the digital space.
Mhm. Mhm.
Even a year ago, people weren't talking about this, or
No,
if they
you
were,
really
it
have
was
been a thought
a
leader in
quiet
that
vet
space.
session,
Yes.
between a colleague and yourself. Now people are like, okay, this is something that really impacts day-to-day living, and
Yeah.
when whether it's the world blowing up or it's people are coming against you and your brand and you're having to absorb all that negative
Mhm.
energy, what does that do? And then what happens when you're dealing with things in your personal life and you're having to bring that to work and all of these things interplay? And I love that there are more and more people starting to address that, whether it's
Mhm.
how do we support our digital team members, to do we have to be on, have coverage 24/7, to
Mhm.
how do we work on workplace communications so the people on the social and digital teams aren't at the bottom of the pile where everything is
Mhm.
rolling downhill and they have to pick up on it. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, being able to be part of those conversations and
Mhm.
and help bringing that forward, even if it's just a small moment in time,
Mhm.
I'm thrilled to be, help make a difference in that way.
Well, and I think you've put like you've named something that maybe people weren't naming or talking about before, the whole idea of like the mental load on especially on social media
Oh yeah.
managers and that role and what how it affects them and like everything you just described. So I even think about that question like I bet there's people out there, if you were to ask them, like, who's quietly influenced your life that, they probably wouldn't know. I bet there's people out there like, well, there's this person, Robbie, that wrote this book, because they feel seen and they feel like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, this isn't something that I'm not the only one that's burnt out or has this mental
Exactly.
health load or
Exactly.
has this, feeling of concern that this really actually is something that is more of a condition, really,
Mhm.
that's a result of the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that is something you certainly should be very proud of.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Have you had people reach out to you and give you feedback and comments and
Not as much as you think, but as far as like people are like publicly like, oh yeah, I've read this book or
yes.
I've done this, but it's in those quiet conversations again, like, oh my gosh, I went to a social media conference last summer and somebody was like, I've got your book tagged and flagged and all these, and I'm like, okay, I made a difference. It was,
Yeah.
I was the person who pulled the information together and said, hey, here's the broader picture rather than it's a you thing that you're dealing with. And
Yeah.
um, that was my part of the puzzle, and I can't wait to see how things
Yeah.
evolve, and it makes it a better space for everybody else to work and play
Yeah.
in.
So
But yeah.
remind me of so I know the social the last so what are the three books? What are
Okay, so obviously what we're talking about, social media sanity and you,
yeah.
and then I've written a book on life after a colectomy, and then caregiver stress during the holidays.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Well, we'll have to make sure we mention all those books if
thank you.
people don't know about all of them. What's next? Do you have another book in mind?
Yeah, my dad actually asked me, he's like, well, what book are you working on now? And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
when the muses tell me it's time to write another book,
Yeah.
nobody, if you told me 5 years ago I was going to write nonfiction, no, I wasn't going to. I was the sixth grader who was going to have the white picket, the house with the white picket fence and write novels all day. And I've never once successfully finished any kind of fiction whatsoever.
Hmm.
Um, it's actually a very fun process for me to write
Hmm.
nonfiction. And when that time comes and I feel that pull for it again, that'll
Hmm.
be the time.
Are
So.
you, would you call yourself a writer at heart? Like, is that where your kind of your passion, your heartbeat is?
I love writing. I love
Mm.
learning. I am a geek, I'll be honest. I love just kind of like digging into ideas and like looking for patterns and that kind of thing. And then just putting the pieces together into that
Hmm.
larger, story
Yeah.
or package, and really making things accessible to people. So
Yeah.
whether it's, making, healthcare information like understandable to
Yeah.
the person who's Googling up symptoms at 10 o'clock at night after their family's had surgery, or it's, demystifying the idea of, oh my gosh, you have to give a public speech to my college students. It's really about just,
Hmm.
making things life a little less scary, if that makes sense. And,
Hmm.
we're all kind of in this together.
Yeah. Well, I think that takes such like a right brain, left brain. It's like it sounds like you have that real like you're very organized, detail oriented. You can digest and understand a lot of information and then have that kind of that art around synthesizing it so that the world can understand it. Not everyone has that skill. So keep writing your books.
Right.
We'll look for your next one. If you could guarantee one experience for everyone at least once in their life, what would it be?
I don't know if it's an experience as much as a feeling, and that
Yeah,
would be
that's
that they feel that they're loved and they feel that they're enough. And I
Mhm.
feel that too often we put so many expectations on ourselves, whether it's I should achieve a certain title or a certain pay range, or all these things have to happen in this succession, or it's not enough.
Mhm.
That I just wish we could all find a little more feeling of contentment with
Mhm.
whatever it is that we've, successfully gotten through. I mean, that sounds very
No, I think that
silly,
is
I
a
realize, but
lovely answer.
the fact that we're able to get up the next morning says a lot. So whether or not you're dealing with deep depression or a stressful day at work or, what have you, you got up the next morning and that's a success in itself.
Mhm. Do you
So,
think that that feeling of kind of what you're describing, not the feeling of like you want everyone to feel loved and content and
mhm.
happy with themselves. When do you think, do you have a feeling that like there's a certain decade where people struggle with that the most or a stage of life? Like I wonder if people as they get older, they find that like once they get into their 50s or their
Mhm.
40s or whatever, like they settle into a little bit more of like because not
Oh,
only
I
like
totally was that
feeling
way.
loved,
It,
but
it took
loving
me
themselves.
it took me until my 40s until I felt really confident with myself.
Yeah.
Not because I couldn't do the work, but it was
Yeah.
always, those little things, those little
Is it
messages.
right? Is it
Whether
enough?
whether
Yeah.
I was a reporter and, an education reporter in the high school and people were telling me to go back to class because I look
Yeah.
so young, or, the MD who thinks it means marketing director and,
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
want to stay in their area of expertise. Um, there's always that second guessing, and especially when we compare to ourselves and achievements for other people online.
Hmm.
Um,
And there's
it,
more of
you know,
that than there ever has been, right?
exactly, exactly. So, but it really took me probably until like the last 5 to 10 years to really just say, this is me and
Hmm.
I'm enough,
Yeah.
and if I do write 14 more books, that's great. And if I never
I'm
finish
done.
another book,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
I've, put my good into the world, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
People always talk about like this time of year, like, what's your word for the year? What's your mantra for the year? Whatever.
Hmm.
But, that idea of like, I am enough being
Hmm.
kind of your mantra for the year or your
Yeah.
phrase. I think I like that one to put that energy out there. Speaking of energy, here's a question about yours. How do you recharge when your energy is completely depleted?
I'm sponsored by Diet Coke, just so you know.
Oh,
No, I'm
yeah.
kidding.
No, a lot of people
I,
are. You'd be
I have a
surprised how
caffeine
much it's come
addiction.
up.
No, when I'm really depleted, though, this is again, it's another thing. It took me years and years to learn to do, and that was being able to recognize that you can't give back when you have nothing left to give. And
Mhm.
so, learning to take care of myself, it's still very much a work in progress. So, learning to say like, okay, I am just tapped out and I'm
Mhm.
going to just quietly watch a documentary, or I'm going to read a book, or um, do little small things for my 50th birthday. And yeah, I'm that old. I decided my gift to myself was going to try one new thing a month. And that has been a blast. And nothing has been very big. I wish I could
How
say
long
I
have you been doing
remember.
that?
Um, for a year and a half now. So yeah.
Okay.
So I've done, I had big things and small things that just, happened to work out. My biggest thing is I got to see the Northern Lights for the first time, and that was when I was camping with my son's scout troop in Charleston, and I'm sorry, not Charleston, Gettysburg. And
Okay.
then, things like I did a metalworking class. I've tried, just big things and little things, and it's been a blast. And I've been a little slacking the last couple of months, but just reminding myself that I can try new things and learn new things. And even if you laugh at yourself and say, gosh, never do that again, it's okay because you've gained something from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think what comes out of that is like what where your interests might lie and where they don't, right? So like metalworking,
Exactly.
like you go and you do it and you learn it, but if you love it, you keep doing it. If you don't, you
Mhm.
tried it.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
what's I feel like I have so many questions with just all of that. So what are you doing in January or what have you done? What's
Anything
your
yet.
new thing?
I've been really struggling to figure out something in January. I think so. I'm open to ideas. So
Okay.
while I'm in Cincinnati next week,
Yeah.
um,
Okay, well, I have an
maybe
idea
that's
for you. Try
okay.
try the Cincinnati chili. Have you ever tried any of the Cincinnati chili?
I've never tried the
Okay, well,
Cincinnati
we'll
chili.
make
So
sure that
okay,
gets done.
okay.
That'll be your thing for January. Um, and then you talked about shows and books and stuff. So I would love
Mhm.
to know, do you like what are you watching these days? There's so much content out
Right.
there. It's like
No,
what are we binging?
I know. And I had a list, and unfortunately, streaming services got changed in our house. And I'm like, okay, well, I've got a lot of things on hold for right now. So like, I haven't seen The Pit, and that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Um, my
What are you
guilty
reading?
pleasure. I'm sorry.
Or what are you reading if
Oh,
you're not
well,
watching
okay.
those?
Well, no, I was going to say, this sounds really stupid, but I wind down at night sometimes watching nature documentaries. I mean, that's just kind of like a chill,
Hmm?
relaxation. The scenery is amazing. It's basketball season, and
Oh, are you a basketball
Dear,
fan?
I'm Kansas Jayhawks, of course.
Okay.
It's a tough year.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying that.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just,
Are you because you're in Indiana, are you a big IU? I mean, are you following the football team?
no,
Okay. Well, like I was sharing
I
with
mean,
you
I'm
earlier, I
very
have a lot of
happy for everybody. Okay, I am.
yeah.
So, but yeah, college football never did it for me, and
Okay.
again, it was probably because I was
Basketball.
a
All
basketball
right.
school, so it's okay.
Well, that's great. I have like I was sharing with you earlier, I have friends from Indiana
Mhm.
and they are obsessed with this season of IU football. I mean, there's like this quarterback's going to be like
Why couldn't you? I mean, I just,
yeah, undefeated,
yeah,
amazing.
exactly,
So I'm sort of
exactly.
on the sidelines watching. I'm like, I really don't know like this team
Hmm.
very well, but it's fun watching them get so excited
Yeah.
about it. Well, last question. We're kicking off a new year. So
Okay.
what are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to a pause. I know we were talking earlier, and I hadn't about how I really hadn't taken
Hmm.
much time over the holiday break, and I'm the type of person that often works through the break,
Hmm.
and then by spring, I'm ready to just kind of take my time then and really enjoy it. And this will be a last spring break with my kids. We've got a couple of ideas. I think we're leaning towards is it Cuyahoga Falls up in northern Ohio?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about. I can
yeah.
see the
Mhm.
word, but I don't
Mhm.
know how to say it.
Yeah.
I know what you're
I think
talking
that's
about.
kind of the direction we're leaning to.
Okay.
But yeah, this is going to be one of those years of change for me. I can feel it, and
Yeah.
we're just gonna kind of
You're
go from
ready for it. You're open to
yes.
it. Yeah. Whether it's slow, it's more of a pause, but it's
Mhm.
intentional and you're ready. I think
Yeah.
that's great. I think that's how a lot of people, I was talking with someone recently, and they were saying like it feels funny this start of this new year. A lot of times people come into a new year and they're like, are you ready to tackle all the new things? And you're just like this high energy. But that
Hmm.
the start of this year has really been more of this kind of quiet,
More subdued feel to it, I
yeah,
think.
like
Yeah.
moving in. I mean, certainly the world, the first
Hmm.
few weeks of January has been
Yeah.
crazy.
And I've
Um,
never been a flip the switch on January 1st type of person. I
yeah.
just feel like it's one of those arbitrary deadlines, and
Hmm.
working in social, I feel like a lot of times we have a lot of arbitrary deadlines anyway, so why
Yeah.
use more?
Yeah.
Um, so it's like I'm the type that likes to plan and think through
Mhm.
ideas, and then when it's time to let go, just roll with it and see what
Yeah.
happens. So, mhm.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see you next week.
Yes, I can't
We'll
wait to
get
see you
you
in
some
person.
Cincinnati chili so you
Yep.
can check off your January trying something new. And we'll have breakfast, I think, on Friday.
Awesome. Can't wait to
I
see you.
look
All
forward to it.
right.
Thanks for joining me.
Thanks. All right.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.